right, here it is. So we're starting recording now. All right, this is July 1st, 2020. Our client today, we got a brand new client. It is Song Lyrics on Trial. So what do you got to
Dun
say about
dun
that, Greg?
dun dun.
Oh, I should mention, we have a new guest host today. This is Brendan, and he's joining as at least a junior partner of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker for
He's more of
today.
an intern at this point.
He's
More of an intern.
I'm an intern. Soon to be a rainmaker, but an intern nonetheless.
Hey, Brendan, get me some coffee. I need a cappuccino.
Brendan already knows that this is designed to get you a pizza. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
And I'm almost got a garlic knot.
we're close. I think we've made about a quarter so far.
Yeah.
But you know that could all change after Brendan's been on here. He's going to be the rainmaker. So
I'm gonna bring the pizza home.
he's bringing
Thank
that
you.
whole roll of pennies to pour
Yes.
over your head, Greg.
Wow, make it rain. Make it rain.
Anyway, so our client is going, why are they talking to each other when they're supposed to be talking about me and my issues? And this is our first litigation, actually. This is the first time we've gone to trial. So this is the trial of song lyrics. Now, this is a client that Greg brought about and pulled together and coaxed into our offices. So, Greg, you're going to have to give us a little more details here. What are we going to do with
Well,
this?
I've been vigorously trying to get this client since when I was just at Jacoby and Myers, when I was just a small, poor lawyer. And now that we have this great law firm that's not a law firm.
So you're a tiny lawyer?
Yes, it was a Saturday Night Live character sketch from the 80s. Tiny lawyer. No, I've been trying to get this client for a while. We got them. We finally got them.
Uh-huh.
And
But they're on trial now.
yeah. So we got to. Some are going to defend them. I'm actually going to prosecute more because even though they're my client, I'm actually the prosecuting attorney.
You feel like they deserve to go to jail?
Yeah, I've been wanting to get them on trial so I can castigate them and hopefully maybe send some to the electric chair.
Wow.
And I know your biggest issue is certain bands. Is there one in particular that you have the biggest issue with?
It's not certain bands, and it's basically there's two kinds of egregious. I'm trying to sound like a lawyer. Egregious song lyric foulness. Because, for years, basically for decades, it was just insipid. Like, hey, baby, I love you. Get in my car. We'll drive around. Just like every song, as long as it rhymed, just throw it up there. It'll work.
Like, what would be an example of that?
Every rock and roll song.
Every one.
60s. Every single one.
The entire 60s?
No, some of them had some poignancy, like Save the Last Dance for Me. That's a sweet little song. But for the most part, so many songs got away with being like, hey, baby, let's rock and roll tonight. We're going to dance the night. All right. I'm trying to rhyme off the top of my head. Then the 60s came around.
You're killing it. Go for it.
I was wondering what rhymed with, though.
I just made that. Yeah. But then, Bob Dylan came around, changed the whole Bob game. Like, hey, lyrics can be poetry, and
Now, are we talking about? Are we talking rock lyrics, pop lyrics? What are we talking about?
There's all kinds of lyrics, actually. Like, even country, and then of course later on the hippie stuff came on. Songs could talk about anything. The Doors. Then punk rock changed even more. Like, you could talk about anything. You could talk about masturbating and whatever, fucking a dog if you want to. So the world of literary concerns.
That was where the world changed. The fucking the dog genre was just blew up.
Oh well,
that song?
We're here out of the gate already. Anybody who's got their kids listening, they're giving lessons to you guys right now. So.
When Iggy and the Stooges recorded "Now I Want to Fuck Your Dog," that was a turning point in rock history. No, but then I think something worse happened in a way. Maybe not worse. At least it was interesting. But bands just started being all obtuse and trying to, I'm a great poet. And writing these lyrics that might sound interesting, use colorful language. They were just, what the fuck are you saying? Like, you're not communicating any ideas to me. All you're doing is spouting nonsense.
Oh, I get it now. Now I think I understand your concept. So basically your point isn't so much the lyrics being stupid about just rhyming, but they're people being pretentious. You have an issue with pretentious lyrics.
You can be pretentious and smart about it. Like Laurie Anderson's very pretentious. She has some
Uh-huh.
songs I like some of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them, but I'm just saying like it's just basically it's a laziness. It's like you remember in college there was all those kids you knew who were like, I'm a poetry major, and they could just spout out any shit up
Yeah.
top of their ass and be the top of their ass.
Like this podcast is what you're saying.
Exactly. So I
Okay.
don't know why I'm being hypocritical right now. So this is why I wanted to bag this client, and
Okay.
I'm curious on your thoughts. Do you have a problem with the majority of lyrics out there?
I don't personally have an issue with lyrics. I think they all have their place. I think that anything that somebody's creating is being designed for a purpose, whatever that purpose happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if they come off as pretentious, that's really in the ear of the listener. If the listener decides if that's going to be pretentious or not, or if it means something to them. So, is there a particular song lyric that you feel that is the most egregious in terms of, to use your lawyer terminology earlier?
Very good, Matt.
Yeah, I do what I can to repeat what other people say. So is there something that you had in mind that was an example of this pretentiousness or trying too hard to be smart or whatever it is you're talking about?
Oh my God, where do I start?
Start with one of them.
Rooster, is that what you're implying? Matt did some research for me because he has a computer. And I've heard this song
many people have those.
I actually have a computer.
Brendan has a computer too.
Look at the fancy pants over Bill Gates's. Oh, wow, la-di-da. Stick your pinky out while you type into that. Why don't you?
Hey, I got my TRS 80.
You're in television hat on. Continue.
No, feel free, Brendan.
I was going to say, just to jump in, I think one of the things that I thought about, before getting drug into this, was certain songs are really long, overly so. And what came to mind specifically, and I think Greg that you'll agree with me, I think, in terms of pretentiousness, was the song "Roundabout" by Yes. This song should be sent to the electric chair.
Because of its lyrics, or just in general, its music as well.
It's
everything about it.
Everything about it. It hits all the high points. It's 8 minutes in length, which is just ridiculous. Unless you're, there's a real reason to have 8 minutes of music. 2, in and around the lake, mountains come out of the sky, and they stand there. Really? That's the best you got? And
then they repeat it a bunch of times.
Again and again. 8 minutes
Let's say
of
this
that.
over and over a few times.
So that would be the first song I would submit needs to.
Now, the irony here is that I had planned on using Roundabout as an example of decent song lyrics.
Please defend your client, Matt.
But then I changed my mind because I realized it's easily ridiculed. But
But you like that song. You would defend that.
I do. I love that song.
It's right to exist and not go to the electric chair.
It is definitely a huge example of the excesses of progressive rock. But
I actually get physically nauseous listening to it.
But I can actually see what you're talking about with this. But I personally enjoy the melodicness of it. I enjoy the full song all about itself. But maybe that's because I am a pretentious man, and so it harkens to me and it.
Oh, definitely.
It pulls the strings of my heart in that way, where I can go, oh, I can pretend to be smart too. So.
I concur with both of my colleagues on this issue. Not to sound too lawyerly again, to lawyer up, but I concur with them in that.
Who are you talking to, Greg?
Who am
you
I
say
talking
with
to?
them? Aren't you talking to us?
Oh yeah, I was talking to the listeners, I guess.
Right. There's no listeners.
We're on a
except
podcast.
Us right now.
You're right. I forgot.
We got one more.
That's right. The only listeners we have are people that I've hijacked into listening.
So I do concur that on one point, songs should rarely be over 2.5, 3 minutes long. There's no reason for that.
What?
For the most part.
2.5 to 3 minutes. You're a crazy man.
Yeah, verse, chorus, don't chorus.
You can
That's the
suck it.
motto of good songwriting.
No, it's not.
That's all you need.
That is
no,
incorrect.
I know.
Liar.
I I'm being
Wrong.
hypocritical.
You're wrong. Wrong.
I love Marquee
this is
Moon.
I think Matt, this is the punk rock part of the both of us coming in. That a song like a Dirty Rotten Imbecile song that's like a minute and a half. You're like, yeah, that was all we needed.
All right, hold on one
Yeah,
second. Now, you just said Dirty Rotten Imbecile. Is that the name of a band?
DRI.
What? You're familiar with them, Greg?
Yeah, well, DRI people call them. DRI.
Uh-huh.
They became metal, so they kind of got bigger than a punk band. Like, I know a lot of kids who know DRI now because they were punk metal crossover. But as I was going to say is that I do like parts of Roundabout and some Yes songs. Some of them are great, but then also I also agree that, like, guys, this could have been a 5-minute song. It would have been very nice. There's no reason for this excess. Of course, that's subjective. Some people, like, I love Marquee Moon by Television, and that's just almost the same thing going on for 7.5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
No.
But that's not the lyrics. The lyrics are nonsense in that. There's a lot I wanted to add, too. There's a lot of music and bands I love and adore. And all these years, since I was a kid, I was like, their lyrics don't say anything to me. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about to this day.
Like, give me an example of I don't know what the fuck they're saying.
The Minutemen. Sometimes and I love the Minutemen. I love even some of the Clash songs are just like, oh, that's just. And I also wanted to add too, in defense of our client, even though I'm basically prosecuting them, putting them on trial, is that there are some exceptions. And for example, I gave Matt some lyrics. Maybe I don't know if you want to read these lyrics. Actually, bring them before the stand.
Which ones did you want, Greg?
Let's
Johnny
bring these
Cash.
people before the public.
The Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash.
So the man
It's
comes around for
basically
Johnny Cash. Is
all
there
the
something in there in
biblical-
particular that you want highlighted?
Almost all the lyrics are just rich poetic language that is just. Sometimes it's nice to have nonsense. You know, oh, this guy strings words together. That's every now and then if you're really good.
Well, I think some of it comes straight from the Bible, though, doesn't it?
I know, but that makes it more nonsense to me. So that's not a point in its favor. That makes me say, oh, that's even worse.
Because I think the first basic line of
It's
it.
all from the Bible, yeah.
And I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, "Come and see," and I saw, and behold, a white horse. And that's how that song starts, is that's a spoken word part of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
And the whole line about it's kicking against the pricks. Like, I mean, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
That's straight out of the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the pricks of the thorns.
If you're going to plagiarize the Bible's, torture porn, it's got all kinds of stuff in it.
Yeah, it's a fun book.
So with the thing you're talking about, the whirlwind is in the thorn tree. The virgins are all trimming their wicks. The whirlwind is in the thorn tree. It's hard for thee to kick against the pricks.
That is such great writing to me, even though it's nonsense. So sometimes I give it.
Well, I mean, is it nonsense or is it telling the story of the impending apocalypse? That's what it's about, right?
But how, though? I mean, would you even know that's about the apocalypse if you just read that line? Like, oh, this is very dark and it's about an impending doom.
I don't know that it's necessarily for everybody, but if you listen to all of it, if you read the lyrics to all of it, then there's the concept of something bad is happening.
Yes.
Right?
Very vague.
The hairs on your arm will stand up at the terror in each sip and in each sup. Will you partake of that last offered cup or disappear into the potter's ground when the man comes around? So you have to take man as the metaphor of whoever the man is, whether it's God or Jesus,
probably,
or it's the guy from Kung Fu, whoever it happens to be.
It's QAnon.
That's right.
I'm going to try to get us listeners by mentioning QAnon at least twice during every podcast.
Oh, I don't know if we want to go that round, but I think if we change when the man comes around to when David Carradine comes around, it becomes a completely different song.
Or David Banner from the Incredible Hulk show, because he was always popping up.
Didn't it bother you in the Incredible Hulk that they called him David Banner, not Bruce Banner? It's like, why did they change the name?
You know why?
I never really thought about that, but you're right. Why was he David Banner?
You guys, for real, Stan Lee even once admitted this, because Bruce is a supposedly gay name.
It's a more feminine name, right? But there was Bruce Lee was around at the time, so what are they talking about?
I don't know. there's that like Monty Python. I think has a bit about Bruce.
Oh, speaking of song lyrics that have the word Bruce in it, what about the ELO
Oh,
song?
don't bring me down, Bruce.
Bruce? Who is Bruce? And what's he doing there in that song?
I don't know, but ELO is also kind of in the same category for me as Yes, as a band that should probably just be forgotten.
Oh, okay. I definitely
Telephone,
I have to
that
split
Bruce
ways
song.
with my colleague here. Oh my lord. They write great rock pop songs. They're catchy. I like catchy, you know. Yes, we're like just wanking off and going off for 8 minutes, but ELO, a lot of times were succinct, 3 to 4 minute, really catchy tunes.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Maybe it was just my upbringing, but there was a certain amount of that do 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 do, you know, with the telephone do do. That I just, again, to this day, I go, oh no, not this.
I really just want to hear the do again.
That was totally in pitch. Perfect pitch you have.
I think that's the electric part of the light orchestra.
Yeah, that's the amount of brainworm that song has become for me. Keeps me up at night, you know, do 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 do, you know, and my wife hits me, and you know.
But I think the two of you grew up with a lot of rage within you, and that's what caused you to gravitate toward punk music. And
not true at all for me.
No?
I was a wimpy little kid who was I had a great childhood. I
thought people
had
bullied you
self-hatred for
because of your
myself.
weight.
Not much. I mean, it wasn't like they beat the shit out of me, but
Yeah.
I hated as I got a teenager, I became a little more self-hatred, but it wasn't anger. It was more just like, I suck. I'm the worst guy in the world.
Yeah.
Bleh.
So
But I still love punk. I still wanted to like hear music that was energetic. Even when I listened to classic rock in the 70s, I always liked the classic rock songs like American Woman that were rock.
not American Pie?
Not as much, no. Foghat Slow Ride, that song rocks. And at least a teenager could hear that and be like, yeah. But Steely Dan, they'd always play that shit, and I'd be like, this is barely rock and roll. It's not really making me tap my toe and want to dance around.
So that's really the criteria for you, is that it has to make you tap your foot and dance around.
Not necessary.
But it have really bad lyrics at the same time.
Yes,
while
that's
making
the thing.
you tap your foot.
Okay, can we bring our client back into this? One of the
Okay,
things
I
I
forgot
wanted
about
to
him.
say is
or
that,
her.
to be honest, when it all is said and done, I really think lyrics don't matter, because Surfin' Bird is one of my favorite rock and roll songs of all time. And we all know how stupid those lyrics are. Utterly just, they're useless.
But
it doesn't matter.
the bird is the word.
The bird and ba 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 a lot.
Right.
Oh, that song. Oh,
yes,
no.
from the
No.
Trash
Yeah.
Men.
I love that song. That's one of the best. That's proto-punk. 1962, I think that came out. That is so rockin', that song, compared to anything else coming out then. It is just pure rock and roll.
Wasn't that considered like the surf rock era? I mean, that style
Yeah.
of music?
It was actually a novelty song. The only reason you know it, because
Like
people thought it was
Wipeout,
funny.
you know?
They thought it was funny. It's like, oh, look at this. It was like Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. It was on all those goofy albums like Looney Tunes.
I was
Nobody
just
really
hoping for
liked
you to
it.
get that song title wrong for a second there, because you had to think about it.
I can't believe, that took me a little, that was hard.
It's a teeny weeny
Itsy
white
teeny.
picket fencinini.
But it was like, I think it's a great rock and roll song, but for years it survived just as a novelty track. Like, oh, those wacky tunes of the 60s, you know. Because it is zany. It's pretty bizarre.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's definitely bizarre.
Right.
So who are we bringing to court here?
I have no idea.
I've thrown
I think
out.
we're just taking Greg to court, actually.
I
do that.
think Yes definitely deserves the electric chair.
I disagree.
I'm willing to give ELO
Yes
a
is-
pass.
Yes is one of my favorite bands.
Maybe 20 years.
What about Alice in
Just-
Chains, Brendan? Where do they stand?
That's. I'm
Should
not.
they be
I'm not-
stoned?
I'm
Or
not
have
an
their
Alice
heads
in
chopped off?
Chains fan.
Yeah.
I don't hate them. I don't think they should get the death penalty. But
Oh, I do.
Oh, really?
I loathe them.
Tell me why Alice in Chains deserves your ire.
Because their songs are just ponderous, just no melody. I don't hear a hook in any of their fucking songs. They're just ponderous 5-minute songs. And the lyrics are nonsense. And we could bring them to trial right now, since Matt also did the law intern work.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're. I mean, you specifically have this issue with the song "Rooster."
That's just an example of hundreds of songs I've heard. Know the lyrics of, where I'm like, that's just so vague, bullshit,
But it's
lazy
designed
songwriting.
as a metaphor for the Vietnam War, and there's a
Sure.
specific line in it where it says, "Walking tall, machine gun man, they spit on me in my homeland. Gloria sent me pictures of my boy, got my pills against mosquito death. My buddy's breathing his dying breath. Oh God, please won't you help me make it through?" How can you call that pretentious?
I plead
I could
ignorance
call
right
it
now.
pretentious, given that guy never went to Vietnam.
He was doing it as an ode to his father in this case, because his father had gone to Vietnam.
Okay, I'm a bad
Oh,
lawyer.
I'm
I didn't
touched.
do.
I'm
I didn't do
touched
proper.
right
I didn't
here.
do proper. I didn't do proper research. I think I never made it to that line, Matt. That is clear. I get where he's coming from, but the other parts of the song,
Well, no, even the first verse, okay? Ain't found a way to kill me yet. Eyes burn with stinging sweat. Seems every path leads me nowhere. Wife and kids, household pet, army green was no safe bet. So right there, you know it's the army, right? Army green, no safe bet. The bullets screamed to me from somewhere. Here they come to snuff the rooster being this guy.Ey're coming to kill me, is what that's talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so he's not talking about himself, obviously, but, people are allowed to write about other people. It's
yes,
do that.
fair enough,
good
fair enough.
thing.
Be
But
pretentious.
but how many people outside of, I don't know, the three of us really understand those lyrics?
33.
And how many are just going, "Here comes the stuff the rooster," and just thinking it's about a chicken?
Matt, what is the rooster metaphor in the song?
It's
What
the
is-
guy. The guy's name is like his name is the Rooster, is a nickname.
Rooster,
and so
like that's a Sanford and Son character.
he's the neighbor. who
Sure,
comes
it's
to
not from
dinner.
sure it's not from the Jack Benny show. I don't know what you're.
You got Grady, you got Rooster, and you got
You got Sanford.
Stinky Foot, Rat. I know all
Stinky
these people.
Foot. Yes, he was my favorite character. He was the breakout character of that show. He had a spin-off for a little while. Lasted 6 episodes.
I would
Stinky
watch
Foot
that
friend.
show. Stinky Foot, and Rat. I'd totally watch that show.
Okay, but Matt, is there a reason though?
Greg was in that show in the early '80s.
Is there a reason to say this rooster over and over? This is another thing I wanted to add about lyrics, even the
Okay.
good ones.
Yeah.
Repetition. Doug Stanhope has this routine. I saw him live. I thought he was having a stroke on stage. He just started repeating this line over and over. And everyone in the crowd at first was just like, ha, kind of funny. He kept saying it over and over.
Yeah.
And it was dead silent. We literally thought he was having a stroke. Like, why is he like, his brain just collapsed? He was basically saying, and at the end of it, he said, yeah, that's a typical rock song lyric. For some reason, when you write lyrics, you're just like, I can write 5 lines for a 4-minute song and just repeat them over and over, no matter how shitty they're in the first place, even if they're pretty good. Yeah, but tell us something else about this topic that you're writing about. Songs get away with that. And the New Kids on the Block song that you have the lyrics to, Please Don't Go Girl, is not only is it the most insipid, typical, oh, I'm just going to make rhymes that are everything you've ever heard in every stupid, shitty love song, but we're just going to repeat them 3 or 4 times, verse, chorus, until the song's over.
But isn't that kind of apples and oranges, though? You're comparing New Kids on the Block to Alice in Chains. No one would ever say that New Kids on the Block are a mainstream grunge band.
No?
No.
No, but everyone should have good lyrics. I mean, Hank Williams just wrote like simple 2-minute country songs. He had brilliant lyrics. I love Hank Williams' lyrics. Clever as fuck. Every line's a gem.
Everyone has to have good lyrics. I don't know about that. I think,
would be
like
nice.
you said before, you're a big fan of The Bird from the Trash Man.
But if it had good lyrics, it would be
What?
icing on the cake. Why not take it up 10 icing on the cake? A cake
Yeah.
doesn't
So
need icing.
how would you add, what lyrics would you add to The Bird from the Trash Man to icing on the cake?
That's a lot to ask right now.
I am. I'm like, just add like 4 words that you think would elevate that song. Like, I own an albatross. Is that something you had in mind to make it even more intellectual song? The bird.
Maybe there was at least the one refrain everybody's heard about the bird could have been something that actually was like, oh, that's a meaningful little bumper sticker saying.
Uh-huh. Like what, Greg?
Come on. What am I, fucking William Shakespeare? What am I, Bob Dylan? I can't, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
you have these expectations. I figure you had something in mind in terms of that.
Okay, that sounds a tough one because he basically says 8 words in the whole song.
I think you're allowed to just extemporaneously say something right now.
Though.
Make something up.
Okay, the Black Lives Matter.
No. I thought we were staying away. I said QAnon. He's going to do Black Lives Matter.
For crying out loud, Greg! This is where editing will come in.
Yes, please. I'm on the spot here. I don't know what was important in 1962. What was that?
The bird is the word Black Lives Matter.
Oh God!
It doesn't rhyme. So
but now here's where I think Greg makes a point, and I tend to agree in that. When a set of lyrics, when a song lyrics relies too heavily on a repeating refrain, it gets a little tiring for me.
Like what would be an example? What would be a song that you would say besides "The Bird" from the Trash Men?
Well, that's kind of quintessential.
Yeah, or "Wipeout" from the Safaris.
"Wipeout" is another good one. Let me think.
With no lyrics.
It's kind of like, why don't we just eliminate choruses from songs then? Because those get repeated.
No, you could change the words, still have the melody. I've done that in my songs.
No.
My songwriting.
Like going back to my, not to ride this horse too much, but going back to my Yes example, the mountains come out of the sky and they stand there. How many times do they say that over the course of 8 minutes? Way too many. Way too many for a line that's a throwaway line at best.
They say it 4 times.
If you're an acid, it's probably a great line, though. It's probably really profound.
Yeah, and maybe it needs to be in there to sink in more, so you can start envisioning the mountains staying there.
Coming out of the
standing.
Sky.
That's right.
And standing in the sky.
They come out of the sky.
And they
the mountains come out of the sky. I mean, what kind of mountains are those?
I don't know, but when I was a kid, I honestly, for the longest time, thought they were talking about the Muppets.
The Muppets come out of the sky?
Come out of the sky and they stand there.
That would be such a different song.
That would be a fantastic song, and I would support that song.
So, in and around the lake, Muppets come out of the sky and they stand there. 1 mile over, Kermit will be there and he'll see you.
You just improved that song 100%.
Super Grover.
30, 40 years. That song just got better.
It was like Grover was the one that you had in mind for that one.
Yeah, I was more of a Grover guy.
I think we could probably improve most songs if we throw the Muppets into them somehow.
Oh, for sure.
What would be, I think,
instead of Rooster, maybe it's Gonzo. How would that go?
Maybe...
That would be, here they come to snuff Gonzo. Yeah. Yeah, here come Gonzo. Yeah, he ain't gonna die. No, he ain't gonna die.
Gonzo is never gonna die.
Here they come to snuff Gonzo. Yeah. Or there's so many that we could do that with. But, those old rock and roll songs, those were pretty lyrically, not unsound. That's not the word I'm looking for. Minimal. They're like minimal lyrics. They're not necessarily bad lyrics. They're just designed to create an effect in some way, like you say regarding the bird from the Trash Man. It's designed to make you dance and feel something in that regard. So I think any lyric put to a song is designed for some purpose. It's the person who created it is trying to communicate some idea to you, whether you like that idea or not. Now, in terms of repetition, I could agree with you guys to a certain extent. With some things, definitely get repeated too often. But I like the long, rambling songs. I like hearing those things. And sometimes when you bring in those concepts more than once, it helps cement them more because they may have gotten missed earlier on when you first heard the song. It may cause the song to become more appealing. I don't know. I was pulling out one of these old songs from the, I guess it's the 50s or early 60s, like Shake, Rattle, and Roll from Big Joe Turner.
Yeah,
so,
ridiculous. Shake, rattle, and roll.
Right, and it's
Shake,
over and
rattle,
over
and
and over
roll.
again. But within that thing which gets you involved, there are
He
other
talks about
lyrics.
Black Lives Matter.
Why, Greg? Why? So, but no, it talks about feminism in this, though. It's like, get out of that bed, wash your face and hands. You get in that kitchen, make some noise with the pots and pans. Where you wear those dresses, the sun comes shining through. I can't believe my eyes. All that mess belongs to you. I
All
believe,
that mess.
yes, I believe to my soul, you're the devil. And now I know, well, the more I work, the faster my money goes. And I
So
said,
you're happy
shake,
that
rattle,
they
and
had
roll.
sexist
Shake, rattle, and
lyrics in
roll.
there. You're happy that they had nonsense, and then they added some sexist, misogynist shit.
No, I'm saying this is what appeals to you, Greg. This is the
Well,
thing that you appreciate is lyrics that don't really have much meaning in the context of a song that makes you tap your toes and get up and dance, which is one of those songs.
well, that's something I like a lot.
Okay.
But the lyrics are terrible. I wouldn't, and not just because of that. Just repeating "shake, rattle, and roll" 50 times in a song.
Well, yeah.
He could have said other things, not in that part, but he could have had better lyrics in that little refrain.
But that's part of the shake and the rattling and the rolling. It's like you
Yeah,
have
but like
you get shaken a few times.
I'm just saying the refrain about like, "Yo, bitch, go in the kitchen, make me a sandwich." Those aren't the best lyrics, but it's
Well, that
there's a lot of
starts
bad
to,
lyrics.
The lyrics are a
that
little
starts
more
to
fun later on. I'm like a one-eyed cat peeping in a seafood store.
See, that's a clever little line.
I don't
Yeah.
even know what
Every
that
now-
means. I'm a one-eyed cat peeping in a
It's a
seafood
penis
store.
reference. It's a dick
that's
reference.
definitely a penis reference.
I can look at you till you
Seafood.
ain't. Oh, this is even better. I can look at you till you ain't no child no more. What
That's a little odd.
is
I-
it?
That's like something Donald Trump would say.
That sounds like something Chuck Berry would say.
I
Anyway,
think
Oh, yeah.
this song needs to go to pedophilia court. I think this is a pedo
Is
song.
that a separate court?
this is,
Pedophilia
this
court.
is
I don't
family
know.
court.
Yeah,
Family court, yeah.
this is. We're talking death penalty here. We're talking, lives on the line. I guess
So this is merely a castration punishment.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
a chemical castration,
Castration, yeah.
Castration.
sort of thing.
All
Home
right.
arrest.
The question becomes, I guess, to sort of narrow our focus a bit.
Oh, that's not possible.
Okay.
Good luck, though.
Yeah. Are we talking about, and I think Greg mentioned this when he started talking about, first he started talking about Black Lives Matter. And then second, he started kind of riffing on sort of like gangster rap lyrics, which
Did I?
are a little bit.
I don't remember gangster rap coming into this.
I don't remember that at all, but maybe I did. I'm
But
drunk.
it is possible that Brendan is the only lucid one between the three of us. So that's.
Well, here I guess it doesn't take a farce. It's not a giant jump from the one-eyed cat at the fish store to NWA.
If they were as clever as that, I'd give them a pass. I'm not a big fan of gangster rap. I just think it's just like
Well,
They're never
that
that
actually
clever.
ties into what I was talking about our last client with the electronic recording device where they were doing modern day recordings of songs from the early 20s, and the rapper Nas was rapping over a song from the Memphis Jug Band from like 1927, and he was essentially relating it to modern day rap, that the lyrics and the music of that era were very similar to what's going on. Now, it actually makes me kind of want to look up a song from the Memphis Jug Band, if I can remember what the name of the song was. But
Right. Well, I guess my point was, there are, we could debate, the lyrics and whether those lyrics are punishable by death. But then you get lyrics within a genre and whether those lyrics are punishable by death. So we've been talking specifically about rock music, with Yes and others, and a little bit with punk rock. But is there a genre of music that just needs to be banished forever? Just needs to be sent to the big house?
easy listening?
easy listening.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with that.
I think maybe like anything associated with Afternoon Delight from the Starland Vocal Band.
I like a lot of songs from the 70s, though, that are probably lumped in there. And what about, like, the Mills Brothers, Glowworm? That's total easy listening, all those 40s.
I'm not familiar with that song. I don't know
There's
if I'd
a
call
lot of
that.
40s.
That's more of an oldies than an easy listening, though. Easy listening would be
Yeah.
like the smooth sounds of the 70s. Would be.
I like some of those songs, I gotta say. I'm sorry.
I was just tossing it out.
I should be on
Afternoon
trial.
Delight, I think, is an exception to your rule. That is an amazing song.
You're going to bat. You're the DA now.
I'm
You're not the
definitely
prosecutor.
defending Afternoon Delight as a song.
That
I
promoted
think-
sex.
I know, and that's what's fucking awesome about it.
I know, in the 70s.
And it's afternoon sex. It's not night sex. It's very specific.
It's dirty sex out in
All right,
public.
so
You know, like,
let's just do the lyrics. So, gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some afternoon delight. My motto's always been, when it's right, it's right. Why wait until the middle of a cold,
dark night.
when everything's a little clearer in the light of day, and we know the night is always going to be there anyway? Thinking of you's working up my appetite, looking forward to a little afternoon delight. Rubbing sticks and stones together makes the sparks ignite, and the thought of loving you is getting so exciting, skyrockets in flight. Afternoon delight. That just reminds me of the scene from Monty Python when there's this guy in bed with this woman, and there's like a camera and a screen set up, and they have pictures of like factory specs going down
demolished.
or going up. Right? So it's like the whole skyrockets in flight metaphor thing is like, oh, wonder what that's supposed to be implying. So
Like
I
a
don't
train
know.
going into a tunnel.
Right, exactly, and that's what this song essentially is like it's an overly shoved metaphor into your face. So I can't feel the same way about this that you do. Started out this morning feeling so polite, I always thought a fish could not be caught who wouldn't bite. But you've got some bait awaiting, and I think I might try nibbling a little afternoon.
I forgot how weird these lyrics were. But I gotta say, I prefer that, like, to just insipid, like, baby, 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 I love you, baby lyrics.
Well, it's true. There's no baby babies in there. Because there are a lot of... I mean, I will say that all the songs that use baby so often, when I've never called anybody I've dated baby, that...
Because you're normal?
Yeah, can we just say that anyone who calls a girl baby that they're dating or likes to be called Papa
or Daddy
has some damn issues. Let's just,
Okay, sorry, guilty as charged.
What
I
did
had a
you do,
relationship
Greg?
like that.
Where you were called
I
Daddy?
dated a girl who was into that weird shit.
She called you
time
Daddy?
I did role play. Oh yeah, it was crazy. It was weird.
What role play?
Yeah, the whole role play thing.
With song lyrics?
No, it just I was her.
Did you act out like song lyrics, like from Afternoon Delight? Did you?
It was much worse than that.
Ask if she was a fish that you could bite and do a little nibbling in the afternoon.
Was there spanking involved?
Oh, that was that was just the start. Yeah, that was the first date. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it was just like she was really
first
into that
date.
kink. She was in that kink, and I realized I kind of liked it too. And it was like this is really disturbing, and yet, I mean, there's a lot of weird. With sex, I give everyone a pass. It's like whatever kink you have. I know it sounds
Like if you don't
disgusting or
mind
weird.
somebody poking you in the eyes with needles, that's a good thing.
No, as long as it's consensual and not damaging. Like, I don't get those guys who like people stepping on their balls. Do you know these guys?
Obviously, you're not open-minded enough, Greg.
No, that's just they end up in emergency rooms.
I'm trying to even envision how they're stepping on my balls.
And what they're using to step, is they using their heel, using their toes,
It's like
whatever.
like the ball of their feet, are they
But
hobnail
some guys
boots?
Some guys can only get off if people like damage their balls, and sometimes they have to go to the emergency room. It's like that's a shitty fetish to have. I'm so glad I'm vanilla.
And we don't even go into that particular fetish.
Yeah.
And how are we getting into this? We're talking about song lyrics anyway.
Well, that's our show. That's what we do.
It's true. And
Let's
somebody's
just talk
got.
about sex.
There'll
for the
always
next
be
hour.
a point where someone needs to take us back to the client because the client's sitting there going, "You're supposed to be defending me
Yeah.
and saving me from
Where's my money going?
doom and destruction. Where's my penny? Oh, I should look and see. Since last week we had only made a penny between the first and second episode, we should see how far we've done so far. We've had 56 total plays, Greg, since last week, and so far we're at 39 cents. So
That's closer to a garlic knot. I'm almost there.
That's the running total. But I don't know. I think I told you how we could finally make if to really make money at this, we need to get 140,000 listens a week. So I think you need to start knocking on doors.
Yeah, going door to door. I think
It's
Brendan's going to be
will
our
you listen?
Fonzie.
We have a podcast. Could you listen? It's on your
We were
phone.
going to talk about stepping on people's balls.
It has
I
to do
think
with
this is
music.
valuable information.
What we're doing, we step on balls, then we can put it to music, and then people will buy it, and you will like it hearing about that, right? Please.
Now,
I'm talking about.
I know that one of the ways to monetize this kind of stuff is through merchandise. So maybe we need some ball stepping on T-shirts.
Well, we've talked about T-shirts and taking clips from some of our conversations as slogans to put on a T-shirt. Like from our first episode, there was one about buses are better at cobra killing. So that's like one line taken out of context. Right. Then, well, we don't have to throw the steamroller in. We can just say buses are better at cobra killing. And then the second episode, not as good of one, but things are important.
No, it's better because Matt said it, and I mocked him for it for like a full minute. Matt just was concluding an argument by saying, "Yeah, Greg, and things are important."
Things are important.
Yes, things are important. Yes.
And I totally deserve to be mocked for it.
I would love that T-shirt. Things are important.
Because it opens it up to whatever you want. Anyway, so yeah, in terms of merchandising, that would be something to do is that concept, and or anything else that randomly pops up that may potentially pique someone's interest.
There may be a huge, public to tap into in terms of what do they call it, Patreon sort of things for people who are into ball stomping. Maybe we could be the official podcast of ball stompers.
They'll be our client every week. We'll just talk about ball stomping every week for the next 5 years.
Yes.
The virtues and
the
hazards.
different types.
And how would we not fall into the trap of bad song lyrics by repeating it over and over again, which is a thing you guys have
Because
to
we
do
have a
with.
fresh take on it. You can write about love many different ways.
So if you were to write a song about ball stomping, Greg, what would be like one of the first lyrics you would come up with if you're going to make a song about that? How would you try to convey this concept to somebody else?
Have 911 on speed dial, baby.
Yeah, you said
If
baby.
you're going to stop my ball.
All right, you have to go to court because you said baby.
Well, I was trying to do a typical rock song. Sorry. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Turn me up.
You threw baby in there. And we're
Baby,
not talking about baby's balls either. So none of that.
I think you replace baby with bitch in that first.
And then that could be a modern song.
Yeah, it's more of
modern song lyrics.
Aggressive ball stomper.
But people might get confused if you say bitch that you're talking about dogs. So we don't want that confusion. No, everyone thinks that.
That's a whole different genre. That's a whole different subset. Dog people.
Bestiality balls?
Well, we started with dog fucking, so I'm glad we brought it back.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Thank you. Yeah, I am happy too. Dog fucking. That's what I really wanted this top client to be, but Matt wouldn't let me. Matt said, Greg, we don't want that client. It's a little too controversial. And I said, Matt, people want to hear about dog fucking.
For those of you who are in our listening audience, we've certainly devolved from the original topic of song lyrics on trial to things that aren't fun for most people.
Well, can we do it a little more? Because Brendan had a point about
although things are important.
Things are important.
Let Brendan keep devolving the show with his dog fucking point.
I feel like I'm lost. I'm lost in some weird universe.
Just go
now.
with it. Go with it. Go with the dog fucking thing.
So trying to bring this back.
I can't tell. I can't promote the show to anybody I know now.
Oh no, I'm going
All
to
my
promote it
family
to
has
everybody.
All I know is this continues. It's definitely going to Brendan's wife.
Then we're all in trouble. So the question is, we were sort of centered on rock music and rock lyrics in general. We've talked about overly long songs, which is a pet peeve of mine. I think Greg concurs.
You know, some of them I just really enjoy. For example, "Child in Time" from Deep Purple.
You enjoy all of them. That's all you sing at karaoke. Matt doesn't sing a song under 5 minutes at karaoke. Maybe once out of 100 songs.
That is incorrect, Greg. I did a couple of them the other night.
Very rarely, though. You always sing songs that are like 5, 6, 7 minutes long.
And what's wrong with that? They're fun songs.
I'm detecting
they are if you like it.
Yeah, exactly. If you like it.
If you like it. But
you have
still,
to like it.
I see no reason for, as a songwriter, a very bad one, I thought that was ludicrous. It's ridiculous to write a song that long. Verse, chorus, you get the idea. Listen to it again if you want to hear more.
What's the point of a song?
To write a catchy, to make a catchy tune that people say, oh, the song makes me happy. I like it. Or
does it have to be catchy?
I like
just be
catchy
something
songs.
People enjoy in general?
Yeah, it could be a
Can
mellow,
they immerse themselves in the full experience?
They can.
Okay, well, that's what the benefit of longer songs, because they add a lot more to them. It's not just listening to the same song on repeat. Sometimes you want a song to have lots of layers and a lot of depth to it.
And I like that.
A lot of music,
smoking a lot of dope.
Well, we're not going to go. Yeah, after you've been dog fucking, but still.
No. You want if you're into the dog lifestyle, you need that stuff. It's quick. You don't want 10 minutes of that for sure. I mean, let's be honest.
If you're into dog fucking,
I think if you're into that, you're doing meth is probably what's happening, and you want those really short 2.5 to 3 minute songs.
Yeah,
because that's if you spend too much time, you start realizing exactly the depth you fall into, and you'll have to take a really close look at the choices you've made in your life and go, perhaps I should be in jail right now.
Right, that's
what I have done, and that's why 2.5, 3 minute songs are bad. Because they don't give people that opportunity to be introspective and realize those horrible things they've involved themselves in. Like ball stomping and dog fucking.
So all ball stumpers and dog doers should be forced to listen to Blue Oyster Cult, Deep Purple, and Yes on constant repeat.
It might have a positive effect on them.
Is that the judge's ruling today?
I don't know, but I'm suggesting that is what.
Sentence to listen to Deep Purple for 50 years in solitary confinement. But let me just say, Deep Purple, they wrote some long songs, but they're rocking as fuck. And I don't care that they're a minute over whatever they are.
Well, this one song is 11 minutes long.
No,
most of it's not lyrics. A lot of it's just screaming. So
that could be good. I'm saying there's always exceptions to this hard, fast rule. Yeah. But for the most part, most pop rock songs, whatever, don't need to be any longer than 3 minutes.
I think it's because you don't actually fully appreciate the musicianship of the people in these bands.
I do.
Nah.
I love Jimi Hendrix. Nah. Jimi Hendrix had barely any songs.
I said
over
fully
like 3
appreciate.
minutes.
You're just appreciating one member of that particular band.
No, I love the drummer even. Oh, Mitch Miller.
What's his name?
Oh, I said Mitch Miller. That's the old
Mitch Miller. And a one, and a two.
Yeah, no, what's his name? Mitch something, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
The drummer from Jimi Hendrix. Come on, help me out.
Because you enjoyed him so much, that's why you remember his name.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't appreciate any of those long-ass 70s stoner songs.
Why is that going out on a limb, Brendan? It's not going out.
Davida can go to hell.
Well, that's just not a very well-written song. That's a lame melody. It's not catchy. Blah, 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 blah. It's boring. That's ponderous. But, like, what about, like, Joe Walsh, like, Rocky Mountain Way? Like, I love that song. Even
Joe
though
Walsh
is
a good songwriter.
He wanks for 4 minutes, though. But he totally breaks all my rules. He wanks for 3 minutes on guitar, but it's a good guitar wank. You can write good guitar ones that are interesting, melodic leads, if
So
you will.
what do you think about the lyrics to Rocky Mountain Way?
Nonsense, as far as I remember.
I don't
I mean, what
remember
is he
them.
talking about?
I think it's ball stomping, isn't it? Isn't Rocky Mountain Way?
It's about
Isn't that a ball stomping reference?
after you fuck the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it's
Right.
always back to that. We
I
can't get away from
just fucked the dog and now my balls are stone.
Baby.
Rocky Mountain Way.
Don't forget the baby, Greg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Baby.
basically the lyrics to that song are pretty meaningless.
Oh,
It's,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
spent
But
the
I don't
last
care,
year
'cause
at
I like
Rocky
the
Mountain Way,
song.
so you can infer that he was like out hanging out in the Rocky Mountains. Couldn't get much higher. Out to pasture. I think it's safe to say, time to open fire. What does that mean? I don't know. And we don't need the ladies crying because the story's sad. Because the Rocky Mountain Way is better than the way we had. So that could be that maybe he was out sobering up. That's possible.
He was
that-
stoned and shooting
telling us
guns.
that, changes it every day, says it doesn't matter. Bases are loaded, and Casey's at bat, playing it play by play. Time to change the batter. And we don't need
Oh.
ladies crying because the story's sad. Rocky Mountain Way is better than what we had. That's the end of the lyrics of
That's
that.
what so many rock lyrics do. They like almost sound like, oh, this, Casey's at bat, blah blah blah. It almost sounds clever. Like, is he talking about something?
Well, I think
But
a
he
large
wasn't.
part of the rock lyric. I
He
mean,
was just high.
I think most of the guys writing the rock lyrics all have very similar experiences, and that's what they write about. Like, how many songs are there about bands that got famous and they tell stories about what they experienced while they were getting famous? Like, Turn the Page from Bob Seger.
Turn the page.
And
Can I bring this up? I have to bring in
Jukebox
a second
Hero.
point.
Well, let me finish my examples.
Sorry,
for a second.
sorry.
So Jukebox Hero from Foreigner, and Shooting
Yep.
Star from Bad Company, and Rock and Roll Fantasy from the Kinks.
Metallica have that too. Metallica, don't they have a road song like "The Road Is So Hard"? Like
Yeah, they did a cover of the Bob Seger song. Turn the Page.
no.
It was
Every
the
metal
exact
band,
same song.
every metal band has that song about how the road is so fucking hard and you don't know what it's like. And it's like, fuck you. You get sushi in your fucking green room every night and girls are sucking your dick. 50 girls want to suck your dick. Oh God. I'm so glad I'm not in a millionaire rock band who's on the road. My heart goes out to you. That is such a theme in rock that drives me crazy. The road song, like how hard it is.
Although my
It's like,
personal favorite of the road songs, which takes it in kind of a different direction, is the Loadout from Jackson Brown, where he's essentially talking about riding on the bus, and then the roadies are the guys who take everything off the stage, but he still wants to play one more song. So he doesn't take it from like the negative perspective in that song.
Yeah.
And that's like an 8-minute song, too. But, he still gets 8 tracks in there, and Richard Pryor, and a few other things that wouldn't normally be in a song like that either. So
Richard Pryor's mentioned in that song?
Yes, he is. You got
Oh.
Richard Pryor on the video was the line that I can recall from that song.
Because I know.
No, but Jackson Brown is one of the more preeminent songwriters.
He's a good songwriter.
Yeah, he doesn't just do Baby Baby. He's got a couple of songs with the baby in it, but most of the time there's some meaning to the lyrics that he gives. So you can get what he's trying to communicate. And so he's
even when
he's at a different tier. It's kind of like you've got Jackson Brown, you've got like Tom Waits, you've got Warren Zevon,
Elvis Costello.
A lot of them have their own. It's like their own. As songwriters, they are just apart from the masses of people writing songs out there.
So who's on the opposite side of that? Who's in the garbage?
Every punk band. Every punk band is in the bottom level in terms of.
You're such an ignoramus.
Let's talk about Henry Rollins for a second.
Okay. Talk about him.
Not in the garbage pile.
No.
Well, he's good for spoken word anyway.
No.
Give me a song of his.
Aren't you?
Give me a song of his that has meaningful song lyrics to it.
Well, I was going to say Liar, but that's almost a spoken word piece. And then he just sings at the chorus.
Uh-huh.
But I love those lyrics about, wait, do you remember that song? He's dressed in the Superman cape.
Liar's a great song.
Yeah, those are like interesting lyrics. He takes on this total character. He basically does a little one-man monologue about some fucking liar, piece of shit dude.
But but Rollins' band wasn't really a punk band, though. They're more of like a straight-ahead
metal.
rock band. Yeah.
Yeah, they got more metally and shit.
Okay,
Whatever.
so if you
So
want
that
to do
doesn't really
a strictly
count.
Black Flag song, how about TV Party?
TV Party.
I don't think he wrote that though. That was pre-Rollins.
Well, it doesn't have to be Rollins. It can just be Black Flag.
Was that what's his name? I can't think of his name now. The one on
Des
Circle
Cadena
Jerks.
man had written it, or who did Des Cadena saying?
Oh yeah, so these are great lyrics. It starts off TV party tonight, TV party tonight, TV party tonight, TV party night, and then we're gonna have a TV party tonight. All right, we're gonna have a TV party. All right, tonight. We've got nothing better to do than watch TV, have a couple of brews. Everyone's going to hang out here tonight. All right, we'll pass out on the couch. All right, tonight, we've got nothing better to do. Watch TV and have a couple of brews. Don't talk about anything that we don't want to know. We're dedicated to our favorite shows. It's incredible. Hill Street Blues. Yeah, what are we talking about here?
And then he's going to no, I got to say, you're
That's
like Clarence Darrow
that's
right now.
irony. That's what I'm talking about.
Brilliant legal strategy right there. Because I was going to say, Brendan, that's really not the best example of a good punk lyrics.
I picked it because I knew Mr. Deep Purple would go off on how, the mountains were coming out of the sky and standing there.
They should stand on these lyrics.
But Matt, it does have this point of like, yeah, they're inane lyrics, but it's like saying like, it's just commenting on like, that's all people did in the 70s. Just go home and watch fucking inane, shitty TV.
And that concept was overdone like 100 times over in terms of people sitting and watching the television. That's where
lyrically, though,
but the term boob tube comes from the fact that people watching TV, it's a boob tube. So this particular concept is like it was like an overdone concept.
Not lyrics. Lyrics, there was a new thing. People didn't write songs like people said, go home, watch TV too much, they're idiots. So, I mean, I'm saying they're not great lyrics, I know.
Okay.
But
so
Brendan would disagree with you, though.
Matt, I need to understand more of the depth of the song Godzilla.
Yeah.
That tells a story.
Yeah, that tells the story of Godzilla.
About Godzilla rampaging through a city.
And you have to go back to what's the importance of Godzilla in and of itself. Well, it's whatever it is you choose to have, if you're a fan of that particular filmography or not. But it could be fun to look up the lyrics on that. So it's like, why not just go ahead and do that? And at no point did I mention Blue Oyster Cult. You brought them up before anyway, so
it just sort of fit in that wheelhouse of yes.
But I just think you have to give Blue Oyster Cult credit because they use the word grimace in a song, and how many people do that? Really?
McDonald's commercials?
Other than McDonald's, I don't think they ever use that word, that name in a song, though.
They might have had a jingle.
Yeah, so...
Grimace, Grimace like shakes, Grimace.
Yeah.
Baby, Grimace.
Yeah, the McBurglar. But the McBurglar will steal your shakes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want meaning from Godzilla, it's basically talking about, Godzilla coming in, destroying things, and then ultimately it goes down into how history shows again and again how nature points out the folly of men. So they're saying that because of man, they are the ones who created Godzilla, and Godzilla is the one destroying all these things. If you've ever seen any of the Godzilla movies, you know this because it's like atomic radiation was supposedly.
It was a metaphor for
created
the atomic
Godzilla.
Bomb.
I don't know if it's a metaphor.
It's beautiful, man.
No, Godzilla was.
I take everything back. Godzilla could have been probably the most perfect song.
Godzilla was obviously stomping on the people watching TV as they were listening to that Black Flag song.
They were watching Godzilla on the 4:30 movie.
That's right. They were looking out their windows. They're like, oh, no, well, I have to get back to the TV show.
Okay, can I I'm going to be Clarence Darrow now. I'm being the defender.
Are you?
I want to reiterate.
You need to be him then. I want you to speak like him from that era. If you're going to be Clarence Darrow, I want a Clarence Darrow voice.
Shit. Members of the jury.
Oh, perfect.
Let me tell you.
Do it.
That, first of all, evolution is obviously true. That's just a dig at Matt. Second of all.
Because I am a monkey?
Second of all, that when all is said and done, it doesn't matter if a song has bad lyrics. If the song is good, it's a good song. And we're just quibbling about icing on the cake here. Because
wait.
the cake is good. If the cake is good, who cares if the icing is? That just adds an extra amount of enjoyment. Is that what common stare sound like? Am I doing a good job? Because somebody is fact.
Well, I don't mind the voice so much as what the hell you're saying is ridiculous.
I'm saying
I have no
that,
idea.
like Godzilla. I love Godzilla, and even though I like to criticize lyrics, but it doesn't matter. Some songs get away with it because who gives a fuck? It's a great song. Slow Ride by Foghat.
Well, see, then he gets into like what songs we like and what songs we don't like, and that's why Brendan got so defensive whenever I went off on the Black Flag song. You're not allowed to make facial movements. You have to speak your facial movements, Brendan, so everybody knows the disdain you just showed me when I made that comment.
I wasn't getting defensive. I think your point is well taken, in that everybody can have. You can really find meaning in yes songs that I don't, and that's the beauty of music, is that I think everybody finds whatever meaning they find in whatever, even if it's repeating "baby, baby, baby" over and over again.
I think we've got a T-shirt slogan there just a second ago when you said anybody can find meaning in whatever. I think that's a slogan.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Well,
anyone
but
can
it's true,
find
though.
meaning in whatever.
But I concur with my colleague. It's like, that's why this is so subjective. Like sometimes I do like vague poetic lyrics because something about it speaks to me, and I'm like, oh, I get where it's coming from, but other people won't. But
go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just gonna say, I think there's guys who are better songwriters and better at that. Like this guy's talking about something real. And this guy is just basically being a freshman college poetry student. He's just spouting out. He's masturbating. He's jerking off on us. He's like, ooh, I'm going to string these words together that sound kind of deep. But it's like, you're not saying anything.
You have to kind of consider that all of the songs we're debating about have struck people in a very deep way to some extent. Otherwise, we would have never heard about them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have achieved any particular popularity if they didn't resonate with people in a different way. So you still have to give even the songs you hate credit. There's people talking in the background. Where's that coming from? Is that you, Greg? Is that your neighbors?
It could be. I'm shutting the window.
I heard a conversation coming in.
My wife just walked past me.
Oh.
No, I think it was my neighbors. He was chatting loudly on the phone. He never.
Now my daughter is making weird noises.
Oh, well, there it is. That explains it all. Well, hopefully you have the background noise suppressant on your camera from Zoom, so that it'll take out that background noise. I'll find out in the recordings later. Anyway, so my point before was that there will always be songs that we'll disagree about. There'll be songs that we'll feel strongly against for whatever reason, And I think when we dissect these songs, there are going to be people who are going to be yelling at us at their podcast going, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Afternoon Delight is probably the epitome of great songwriting at its finest, and no song is better than that particular one. And
I think we actually kind of thought it was okay. We actually came to the conclusion that those are better than most lyrics.
I don't know who came to that conclusion, Greg, but it wasn't sitting in this chair.
I think me and Brendan said that anything that's that pro-sex in a 1970s top 40 pop song that old ladies are listening to, I applaud that.
Uh-huh.
I'm very pro-sex.
Yeah, I think that I think that where this really ends up is that songs tell stories, and not everybody likes the same story, and not everybody wants to hear the same story, and that sort of thing. And everybody's into the same genre of story.
Yeah.
But good songwriters write good stories in their songs. And I think that's, even though I don't really appreciate Yes, I can tell that in some sort of J.R.R. Tolkien sort of version of storytelling, they tell a pretty damn good story. It's just not my cup of tea.
So that means you don't like Led Zeppelin either.
No, I love Led Zeppelin.
But Led Zeppelin is all about
But their
J.R.R.
lyrics,
Tolkien.
though. What do you think
But
about their lyrics?
they're better. Let's just put it on the table that
Uh-huh.
Led Zeppelin is way better than Yes.
Well, they know how to rock. They learned how to rock and roll at one point.
I actually
Yes
listen to
never
more
learned
Yes
that.
songs than I listen to Led Zeppelin songs.
But they
I'm
never
sorry to
learned how
hear
to
that.
rock.
I
good.
appreciate both bands. I really like
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin. I'm just saying that I actually appreciate Yes on a different level than I appreciate Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was their thing, but if you look into the arrangements and the instrumentality of the guys in Yes, they are heads and tails above nearly any other band that has existed.
But
With
so
the
is the
exception of
Boston
like maybe like
Philharmonic.
3 or 4. What's that?
The Boston Philharmonic is heads and tails above any band you've ever heard.
If you
do you want
combine them with Yes
want
in
to
a
listen to them?
concert, yes, I would. If you combine them, yeah, I'd be all about that.
no, but they don't play that. The Boston Philharmonic.
They
are
might. I think
brilliant
that's probably
virtuosos.
not true. I saw Jethro Tull here in Portland, and they played with the Oregon Symphony.
No, they do that all the time. I'm saying though,
That's what I'm
they
saying.
themselves, when they play,
Yeah.
they play boring classical
is
music.
so is the point here musical snobbery? So that
I don't know.
The guy from Yes, the drummer from Yes, is the best drummer that ever existed. So their music is the best.
I don't know that he's the best drummer that's ever existed. I think the band in and of itself, in terms of how they arrange the music and how they, the complexity of their music is what I really appreciate.
Yeah.
And the thing is about Led Zeppelin's music, it's just not that complex for me. It's great rock and roll songs. You know, I really like them. But in terms of the complexity, in terms of what they do, it's not the same level. It's just completely different.
To me, they're too complex, even though I love them.
Uh-huh.
That's a little
Led
too
Zeppelin's
smart
too
for me.
complex?
Yeah, like I like the Ramones a lot. You know, like that's like I added too many leads in there. Why is Jimmy Page going off for a minute? He's great at it though. He's one of the few guys where you can wank all you want. You know, he's good.
No, but I understand what you're saying regarding a Philharmonic orchestra, Greg. But that's like, if you really like classical music, that's where you go to. If you want music without lyrics, you go to classical music. But we're not talking about music without lyrics, really.
Or if you just
if you want music without any sort of interest, then you go to Yes.
It's like the Boston Philharmonic for rock fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least they have lyrics, and you can talk about mountains.
The mountains, Muppets come out of the sky and they stand there.
Those Muppets.
I love the Muppets.
I wonder if Yes knows that they're involved with the Muppets. But I would kind of like to do a whole bunch of other songs that involve the Muppets, too. I was thinking about maybe The Spirit of Radio from Rush would be good.
Another band I can't stand.
Okay. I love Rush. Some of their songs. But then, they became one of those bands I hated because they just stopped writing good songs.
So at what point did you start hating Rush, Greg?
After the late 70s, like all their songs were just like, you sang a song at karaoke the other night that was just like, this doesn't even sound like Rush. It's just like this generic, proggy, boring song, synthesizers.
Yeah, it was definitely not one of their better ones.
Like, Rush were very, they were the nerd rock band in the 70s. If you were a nerd, you liked Rush.
Uh-huh.
Like a math rock before the term was
math
coined.
Rock?
Yeah, that's a thing. Like your songs have lots of parts. And you
like
start
Schoolhouse Rock?
No, it's a little different. But math rock is like, it's maybe more proggy. Like it's not just a simple rock song. But I like Rush because they could still rock out in the parts when they did rock out. And their lyrics, I get something out of Spirit of Radio. It's not, he's talking about, it's not that a great a message, but he's saying like,
well, he's just talking about what the radio does for you. That's all. It's kind of like Elvis Costello and radio. I know.
Well, that's more apt because that's actually negative radio. Rush is talking about like, thank you, radio. But they are a little negative. They're like saying like, this is what you could be, and why aren't you doing this enough? But it has some message to me, at least. Maybe some people think it's nonsense, just like I'm talking about all these other songs, like Rooster.
Well, the song "Spirit of the Radio" also talks about the negative side of the music industry too.
Which does?
The song "Spirit of Radio" also goes into the negative side.
That's what I was just saying. That's what I was saying. Yeah,
it wasn't quite.
Like he actually admits there's almost like this melancholy, like, yeah, radio isn't as good as it used to be, even though it could be this glorious thing in our lives. Radio is a great thing. It could be. But when we were kids, it was just all boulderized crap, like,
Wait,
here's the same 40 songs.
What word did you use there?
Boulderized.
Boulderized?
Boulderized?
Boulderized.
BOWT.
And do you expect our listeners to know what that word means, Greg?
They probably do.
I think that means
I'm an
to
idiot.
be created or in the shape
Take
of
the
a
vowels
boulder.
out. No, it's to take the vowels out.
Be turned into a boulder.
I've been
Take the vowels
boulderized.
out.
All right, I've looked it up. So bowdlerize means to remove material that is considered improper or offensive from a text or account, especially with the result that the text becomes weaker or less effective. For example,
you
like when
say
I go
it
to
again?
edit this, I'll be taking out all the dog fucking part.
No, that was gold. That was the best
You're
part
going
of
to
the show.
boulderize out the dog fucking?
It's
All right.
It's removing materials considered improper or offensive, especially with the result that the text becomes weaker or less effective.
Yes.
I don't
That's what I
think the
was going
text
for.
becomes weaker or less effective. It is certainly objectionable, though.
You talking about the spirit of radio?
No, the dog fucking.
Oh, yeah. There will be people who will not appreciate this aspect of this particular episode, but life goes on, and these are words that many people have used, not necessarily together, but separately, and then we've happened to put them together for maybe their usefulness, or
Can I say in my defense?
maybe
I don't-
to push away certain listeners as well. Like, if you
Hopefully
can't
they
handle
got
this, you're probably not going to be able to handle things that come up in the future.
That's true.
Although, our first episode where Greg talks about his cock gobbling, that was another one that created some eyeballs
It
to
wasn't
open.
my cock gobbling. I think I was referring to you cock gobbling or something.
Oh, I don't.
It was a metaphor. It was a metaphor.
Oh, of course.
It was a poetic.
It's always a metaphor.
We were talking about a restaurant, I think it was in Vietnam or China, that just specializes in penises of animals. So, like, you can have raccoon penis and pig penis, and, like, that's what they serve at that particular restaurant. And so Greg went into a little riff off of that. So just to catch you up on things.
Okay, good.
That was in episode 1, everyone, of Favorite Ethnic Foods. And if raccoon penis is your favorite ethnic food, people, that's the episode to listen to.
Yeah, you got to listen to that.
I don't know what ethnicity's into raccoon penis, but
You'll be validated.
they probably
your
involve
love
a
of
small
raccoons.
island in the Atlantic, but I don't know for sure.
I think that the penis food people are a very narrow niche.
Probably, to some extent.
Not to be ironic in my language.
Yeah.
So,
What do you have to say, Brendan? Talk to us
well, I think
about
we've
boulderizing.
boulderizing is probably important. I think we kind of come to, again, music is, I think as somebody said at the beginning of this, music is really a part of who you are, and it defines your thinking. It defines what music means something to you because it means something to you. I know I'm sounding like Yogi Berra, but I don't like yes, you like yes, and that's cool. The question was, I think at the beginning of this podcast was, who's going to jail?
That would be Greg.
Greg is going to jail.
Yes.
I deserve it. I plead guilty.
Can the three of us agree, because we kind of come from divergent viewpoints. I'm not a prog rock 70s guy. I don't like Rush or Blue Oyster Cult. And that's fine. I know a lot of people that do, and God bless. So is there a music we can condemn? Is there a
New Kids on the Block. Boy bands.
Okay.
Boy bands?
Early 90s.
New Kids on the Block, I'm good on condemning that.
When you say boy bands, does that include, was it Boys to Men?
Oh, yeah, all those bands. Not the
Boyz II
Jackson
Men is
5, though.
I don't
Jackson
think
5
they're
were
a boy
brilliant.
band.
Or
I think they're R&B.
or Belle Biv DeVoe?
They weren't
Also
a boy band.
R&B.
They were adult men in Belle Biv DeVoe.
Well, they were adult men in New Kids on the Block, too.
No, New Kids on the Block that was the thing. They were boy bands. In sync.
I don't think they were little
They were
boys.
underage. They couldn't drink legally. That was the thing.
I'm not really so wrapped up about their age, although that's provocative.
Good to know, Brendan.
Yeah, but
Find you some dates.
Boy bands specifically would be like NSYNC,
98 Degrees.
98 Degrees.
Yeah. New Kids on the Block.
Is there O-Town? Ozone? Something like that?
Yeah, O-Town.
Yeah, there was some bullshit band like that back in the 90s. Where they take these young...
You mean like a manufactured band of...
yeah.
Kind
they
of
didn't
like
write their own songs. It was a factory.
Like the Supremes were created in some way, or not the Supremes.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
They had good songwriters.
I'll give that one a pass.
But there's so many people who are fans of those groups.
I know.
There's the Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block, and they had pretty major hits too. And so, why should they be condemned in terms of what they produce?
Because those people are wrong. Who like them? They should maybe be sent to the electric chair as well. Let's just have a massacre.
Are you allowed to change your mind about music as you get older? Can you like songs that you used to hate?
Of course.
Has that happened to you? Did it happen
to
you, Greg? What song do you like now that you used to hate?
Oh, let me think. Okay.
I'm letting you.
So I'm going to tell you an artificial one.
Okay.
Where like songs I didn't allow myself to like.
You're just gonna make up a song that you didn't like?
No.
I like it. I really like Country Joe and the Bongos and their song "Who Saw the Dog?"
Who fucked the dog? No. It said.
But now I hate that song.
No, what I was gonna say is I artificially hated some songs because I grew up in the early '80s in a punk band in upstate New York. There's.
What do you mean you artificially hated the song?
I'm about to tell you. So I was a punk rocker. The metal guys hated us and would pick on us and beat us up and shit. So I would be like, I don't like metal at all. Even though I'd be still listening to the radio and hear Crazy Train by Ozzy be like, I like this song, but I can't admit it. I have to suppress it. I have to like squelch it down. I was in the closet basically about liking lots of rock songs.
Like what would be an example of a song that you used to artificially hate?
Crazy Train by Ozzy.
By Ozzy. Now, why? But that's okay.
That's a great, catchy tune. I love that song.
So, what song did you actually hate?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Not artificially hate. What do you
actually?
And then
you know what's weird?
About?
I think it's a sign of my mental intelligence. I really haven't grown at all. So, like things I liked when I was 12, I still pretty much like. And a few things I actually have done the opposite, where I'm like, okay, that's shit. I was wrong. But actually, most of the things I didn't like when I was younger, I still don't like.
Brendan,
unless it was artificial reasons. Like... Yeah. Maybe I like bread more in a nostalgic way. You get those little things where like, yeah, I hated that when I was a kid, but now I kind of don't mind it so much.
Like the schmaltzy 70s love songs? Okay.
Yeah, because I was at a Kiss, and all my sisters were listening to Bread and depressing Carly Simon music. And I was like, And they were older than me, so they were in control of the stereo. So I'd hear all that shit. Now, sometimes I like to listen to some Carly Simon. Not often.
Right.
In fact, very rarely.
Was there a song that you hated that you now like?
I can't think of one. I've not progressed intellectually in 40 years. I'm just stunted. Okay.
Brandon, you got anything? Do you feel that you've changed in any way towards music that
have you matured?
I found that more recently, and by that I mean like the last 4 or 5 years, I've become more of a fan of folk music than I thought I would be.
Okay.
Like suddenly Joni Mitchell was good, sounded good to me, whereas before I was just like, who's this bitch?
That was the name of her first album, actually.
Who's this bitch? The debut album from Joni Mitchell.
That would be a great album. Who's this bitch? A collection of Joni Mitchell's best songs. But yeah, so I didn't expect that I would in my later years kind of become a folk music person. But I have. So that's a change. I can't say that I hated it in the past. I wasn't exposed to it, but if like my older brother played it, I'd be like, oh, okay. Including shit like Bob Dylan, which is fantastic. But that sort of vibe, just I was like, I didn't hate it. I just didn't understand it. And I think as I've gotten older, I think I understand that music better.
So what was the stuff that you actually hated?
Mm.
I'm gonna throw my own hat in the ring on this one. I used to hate country music as a genre, and like literally had horns. So anyway, I hated country music as a genre. And Greg, are you taking a leak? What the hell?
I was pouring some whiskey into my cup. Sorry.
Oh, you do this. You can't sit still when we do the show. What the hell is wrong with you?
It's called alcoholism, man.
Look
it up.
It's called background noise.
As long as he's not peeing, I'm kind of okay.
He's done that
did already.
before. Yes.
I did today.
I did get
10
that.
minutes ago.
That wasn't lost on me. What was happening there?
I didn't forget to mute. No, I muted.
This has happened in the past. He's found his way there. But I guess that's the charm of this interesting computer telecast that we have. All right, Greg, what are you doing?
Oh, shit, I forgot to mute again. God. Okay.
Are you doing your dishes while we're doing this? What the hell's going on?
So anyway, country music.
You crazy person.
Pots and pans. I'm in the kitchen.
Why does that have to happen now, you whack job?
Shake, rattle, and roll. No, okay. Put a pin in it. Edit this out. Go, Matt. Country music. I'm muting myself.
But if you mute yourself, then you can't respond to things that are being said. How about you just have a seat or something? Why don't you give that a shot?
I know you're going to talk for 30 seconds, and I have time to do this
I thought you were going to say for 30 minutes, and which would be an apt
You could do that, too. You've been known to do that.
I can ramble a bit, yes. Anyway, so back to country. So I hated country music because it was really enforced upon me when I was growing up by my parents. But I got really educated in country music too, so I know the songs from that period because that's what we hear at the house, that's what will be on the radio. And so as I got older, I started looking back at why did I hate this music, and it was for various different reasons. I would have to explain it to my mother why she should hate that music too, and she wasn't willing to buy it in terms of my reasoning. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten to appreciate that some country bands actually were incredible musicians. They could really put songs together. They have a richness to their voices that aren't necessarily in other genres for some cases. And sometimes they're just fun to listen to. But, I used to hate Hank Williams. I just thought his voice was annoying, his songs were annoying, and I didn't want everything to do with them. But as I got older, there's something that changed in how those songs resonated with me, where it's I enjoy listening to them now, and I'll now sing them at karaoke because of that fact. So
you know why? Because you were listening to Yes at the time, and you were like, why doesn't the songs go on for 8 minutes and have synthesizers wanking for 2 minutes?
You can't really respect Johnny Cash if you're a Blue Oyster Cult fan.
That's not true.
I don't think that's true, actually. I respect both.
I'm just pulling
Johnny
shit
Cash was the other member of Blue Oyster Cult. You didn't even know it. He was the silent partner in that band. Godzilla is really a song entirely about Johnny Cash.
He played tambourine.
Johnny Cash was he would be walking through Japan and destroying buildings. And they just couldn't pronounce it properly. They said Godzilla, but they were saying Johnny Cash instead of Godzilla.
Can I just say, Matt, though, I think our
Greg.
generation has that.
Because what? Johnny Cash is a giant reptile?
Exactly where I was going. No, country sucked when we
No,
were
but
Boxcar
Willie is
great. Hank Williams is all that great old country. It's George Jones and all those guys were great. They wrote great, amazing, clever, catchy tunes.
Yeah, but we
didn't get that.
Yeah.
Well, see, I never even heard it growing up. It wasn't on the radio.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear country radio. But we had the new country, which I think became an extra genre. New country. Yeah. That was more the 80s. So every kid I knew, I like all kinds of music, but not country or classical.
Everybody who says that, I say, oh, yeah, tell me your favorite polka band.
That's another thing nobody likes. But maybe
somebody likes it somewhere.
Maybe there's some
when I worked at the radio station in college, and we did fundraisers, the polka show always raised the most amount of money for the school radio station.
Because they were
That's 'cause
old
they're a
people with
cult.
money.
I'm just saying, so that means somebody likes it.
Yeah, but they had more money than the poor college students listening to The Cure.
I understand, but my only point is just that people like it.
They do.
Right. So you asked who did. So there are people who like it, and they.
No, and there's people who like new country.
Yeah, that's right.
All that
Otherwise,
shitty Shania Twain crap and all
well,
that
no,
shit.
Shania Twain's not even new anymore. You're talking about stuff like
No, I know, but that's the genre I'm talking about.
Kane
What country-
Brown and Sam Hunt, who are doing like rap country.
Well, that's a whole new country.
That's popular.
But new
stuff.
country basically was when country was just like, we're just going to be pop,
Slow.
basically. We're going to sound like pop. I mean, it didn't really sound country anymore. It's just like, this sounds like a top 40 song, but maybe a little twang in the voice.
You
Or
just have to remember that country and western were two different genres at one point, and they put them together. So you had country music and you had western music, which is essentially the songs about cowboys for the western music. Country music is basically people, farming. So they combined those, became a genre. It's like rhythm and blues. So like you had rhythm, which is one music, and blues was another style of music. They combined those for a particular genre as well.
I think you were referring to the Blues Brothers when they were like, I like both kinds of music, country and western. I think it was always just a name.
No, it was different. If you listen to
So-
music from like Tex Ritter, Marty Robbins,
I get it. Yeah, western is
Western
like
music,
Gene
it's-
Autry.
yeah, it's
So
like
what would be
Sons of
country
Pioneers.
music?
country is
As opposed
like
to
stuff
Hank
on
Williams.
the farm and doing things. Not
Jimmy Rogers.
Western would be for ranches. Country would be for farms. If that helps a little bit, what you do on a ranch is different than what you do on a farm.
That's
you know?
That's a really good example.
So
You're a good
country
lawyer.
music would be about planting potatoes.
Sure, there's that whole
Yeah.
genre of potato music that's out there.
I mean,
Like Blake
Devo.
Potato Shelton.
I was deep into the potato scene in the mid '80s, so now it's all coming together for me.
I'm
You were a
talking about
poser,
in the
man.
I'm talking about the early days of music.
You
So
were a
the
potato
early days
poser,
of
Brendan.
when those genres being created, they were separated. You
I
didn't
was
have
not
them
a
together.
potato poser.
You
I
were a
object.
poser, man.
I object. I was a potato realist.
You weren't a
I was a
bud.
potato. I was a
Because it
potato
used to be
man.
the farmers would fight the ranchers because the ranchers would try to take the farmland to feed their cattle or their livestock. So
No,
I
I
get
get that
Western.
as a historical point. I was just
Sure.
trying to.
as a musical point, that goes too. But
Well,
then
like,
the stuff that's
Johnny
now
Cash
called
is what? Western?
I think he's his railroad music.
Oh, that's a whole nother genre, railroad music.
That's
Yeah.
right. I actually
that's
had the lyrics for Wabash Cannonball up to address at some point, which was
Was that defending or prosecuting?
that
was
was
there
defending. Yes, absolutely. Because
So is there a Chinese sub-genre of railroad music?
I think it's called
Probably.
John Henry, maybe. I don't know.
Johnny, that's a whole different. Now we're back to Black Lives Matter.
I was not talking about that. Why do we have to bring race into this? For crying out loud.
You dropped the John Henry bomb.
I never said anything about anybody's color whatsoever. And I'm all about not necessarily bringing those topics into topics that are not inflammatory.
Well, you guys are in Portland, so
What? We don't have the racists that you have in Florida?
that's right.
We don't have the KKK marches like you have in Florida?
You grow up strong and hard down here.
But you're from Seattle.
No, it's true. I am, and I feel like I'm kind of in a spaceship, and I just keep to myself.
You're in a spaceship?
There's literally a truck that about twice a week comes down my street. It's a dead end street and visits somebody. I don't know. Maybe they're visiting their parents or their ex-wife or their meth dealer. I'm not really sure, but they literally have a giant, Trump flag proudly trailing out of the back of the truck.
No, I'm curious. What does a Trump flag look like? Is it like all orange?
That would be awesome if it was, but no, it's just I think it's a Trump 2020 kind of like a like a yard sign except a flag.
Oh, okay. So
Eastern
is it
Portland
red, white,
has
and
that,
blue,
Brendan.
or
Huh?
I was gonna say, you go east of 82nd Street in Portland. There's tons of Trump signs and flags. It's like Portland is known as Portlandia, this liberal whatever bubble. But yeah, that's just a small part of the city. There's a huge eastern part where it's like red state America, you know.
There are no Trump signs in my neighborhood, Greg, and I am in the eastern part of where you're talking about.
Wow, interesting. Because I used to go to that part all the time to walk my dog. When
I'm
my friends
looking
took
out
my
my
dog.
window and I see no signs of anybody in their yards.
No people putting up Trump signs right now.
No signs
Amazing.
in their yards at the moment either. And I can
Okay.
see at least 1.25 neighborhoods.
But it's a thing when you go east of 82nd Street or Avenue, you definitely don't see all those, bubble signs, like all the we support people, everyone. Like everyone in Portland has those signs.
What? What are you talking
In
about?
Portland, it's very popular to have those signs.
What
like,
signs are you talking about?
I was gonna try to say it.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
So
you said
like
bubble
like
signs.
we
I don't know what
support
bubble signs are.
everyone, no matter their gender, no matter their racial their I almost said racial preference. I prefer to be this race. Religious preference, whatever race. That's it's a very nice sign. But then you go east of 82nd. When I used to walk my dog every day, I'd see tons of Trump bumper stickers, which you never see in central
that's
Portland.
Bumper stickers.
Southeast.
That's not signs in their yard.
No, I saw those too. I'm saying all.
Yeah, I mean, the Pacific Northwest having grown up there is really interesting because a lot of people have this idea that it is just this giant liberal whatever, but it's a huge hotbed of white supremacists as well.
Oh, Eastern Oregon is fucking Idaho. Eastern Oregon has got camps of survivalist weirdo white supremacist dudes hanging out.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how we got onto this subject.
Well, we could talk about song lyrics that the Trump campaign used that they've been yelled at by the people who wrote the songs and told them to stop using them.
And they didn't, right? Because he has lawyers.
He's got very expensive.
It seemed
lawyers.
like he never got slapped down on that. People would say, "Hey, don't use our song," but sue him, sue his fucking ass.
Right.
I think the Rolling Stones just brought a lawsuit.
The Stones?
What did they use? What did Trump use of Trump?
The Rolling Stones just the latest band to threaten legal action against Trump over his use of their music at his rallies. Apparently, over a dozen artists have instructed him to stop using their songs.
Did he use "Cocksucker Blues" by Rolling Stones at one of his rallies?
What song of the Rolling Stones did he use? I Can't Get No Satisfaction?
Well, he used "Rockin' the Free World" from Neil Young. And he used
I'm sure Neil Young was
"The End of the World as We Know It" from REM.
Oh, they were doubly thrilled.
And
Michael Stipe was so happy.
There was some song from Aerosmith. I don't know which one it was. "Skyfall" and "Rolling in the Deep" from Adele. "Rocket Man" from Elton John he wasn't happy about that usage.
How about Kim Jong-il?
"We Are the Champions" from Queen. They didn't appreciate it. "Love Train" and "September" from Earth, Wind and Fire and the OJs. They didn't like it either. The Stones did not like using "Beware of Darkness." And
so they have no legal recourse.
The Beatles did not like "Here Comes the Sun." Twisted Sister is not appreciative of them using "We're Not Going to Take It." Pharrell Williams was not happy about "Happy" being played. Rihanna didn't like him using "Don't Stop the Music."
Black Flag was not happy with them using "TV Party."
Guns N' Roses has formally requested their music not be used at Trump rallies.
But does that stick?
Nickelback filed a copyright complaint for using "Photograph." The estate of Prince will not let them play "Purple Rain." REM would prefer if they don't do "Everybody Hurts" or "Losing My Religion."
So why doesn't this stop, though? Why can't they have legal recourse?
If Nickelback is suing you, you have a serious problem.
Yeah, you're...
Tom Petty's family said that he's not allowed to play "I Won't Back Down." Panic at the Disco said, "Dear Trump campaign, fuck you. You're not invited. Stop playing my song."
Minor Threat said, "Stop playing Out of Step."
The Rolling Stones sent a statement. They're working with BMI to stop Trump from playing "You Can't Always Get What You Want" and his rally. So that was the last of the complaints. Was that one? That was quite fascinating, actually. I
I
didn't.
just love that a presidential candidate is playing "It's the End of the World as We Know It." Like usually, presidential people play like "Don't Stop Believing" or like
That and
hopeful
Everybody
things.
Hurts. Why is he playing Everybody Hurts It when it's supposed to be a rally? Say, hey,
I don't know.
everyone get excited.
Yeah.
Everybody hurts.
Yeah, after me being in
Sometimes.
office for all these years, so I'm basically saying
But
sorry.
why is it?
you're
Why are you
hurting.
playing that at your rally?
I don't
don't
know
know.
how that
He's a
got on the
moron.
playlist.
So Matt, have you ever looked into can these guys they sue him or that's legal? To just
I think
play
it
a
depends
song?
upon. I think it depends upon fair use and how many
So it's
people
like
are there.
ASCAP, maybe
It's
BMI
similar to like
law
playing
rules.
karaoke at a bar. ASCAP, BMI.
You have to
They're
pay
supposed-
that though.
Yeah, the venue has to pay the fees for that. So
Oh, so if they pay them,
if the
all
venue paid those fees, it's probably okay for them to use those.
okay.
But it could be that the artists can find some, or maybe it's just a gesture that they're doing to show that they're against it, and maybe they have no legal recourse at all. Who
Yeah.
knows? But either way, I don't really want to make this a political thing because there's plenty of other podcasts that are dealing with the whole political situations and
Yeah, let's get back to ball stomping, can we?
yes,
And dog fucking.
right, and that ties into the Trump rallies apparently. So, speaking of which, I see a guy doing both of those across the street. All right,
But not putting up a Trump sign.
no.
Heaven
Thank
forbid.
God.
Somebody
Thank
in
God he
your
can do
neighborhood
whatever he
likes
wants, just not that.
Well, so have we come to a stage within this topic for this client? Are we doing this client justice? The trial of song lyrics, has this been brought to a fruition in any way?
I would say
I
as
do
a
want to bring up
prosecuting attorney-
one particular lyric that I think is probably the reason why there's a lot of lyrics in rock music that you would disagree with in terms of repetition and for dancing purposes.
Yes.
And that would be what's considered probably one of the most famous rock songs of all time, Rock Around the Clock from Bill Haley and his Comets, where he goes 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, rock, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock around the clock tonight. Now, that could be the beginning
Brilliant.
of a satanic
Brilliant.
ritual where they put the clock on the ground and they're
A
rocking
sundial?
around the clock in some way. Like maybe, because in the beginning this was considered to be the devil's music, right? So it could be that was true. Maybe it was a thing that was designed for the purpose of bringing the devil to the planet and causing what is. If it wasn't for Bill Haley and his Comets, would we have those boy bands that you hate? Would we have those lyrics from Starland Vocal Band in Afternoon Delight? Would we have these things that
Yeah.
said about them?
There's a lot of lazy, shitty songwriters.
But it's because they
history.
did this ritual of putting the clock on the ground and rocking around it. I mean, maybe that's what
That made it
Stonehenge.
all?
Maybe that's what Stonehenge is all about. Is like that was the original rocking around the clock. It was like the giant rocks.
Which were like a sundial.
They were
some
supposed
kind
to
of
be like
calendar.
a big, annual clock that was used.
Yeah.
So I think this all stems back. Rock around the clock, rock music goes back
They cursed
to
lyrics
Stonehenge.
forever.
I think this
They
is what
cursed.
I think. So any music, any song lyrics that we have any issues with right now, we can only blame the Illuminati, and I think that's the perfect resolution.
That's a whole different issue. The Illuminati fight Satan.
But weren't they part of the Druidic rituals, like the Masonic temples, and
Yeah, and they're very anti.
and they go back to
Christian.
the Druid? But I'm
the
saying, that,
Masons were anti-Christian.
well, maybe we
actually.
can take Satan out of it then, in terms of
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just some demonic presence of some kind, and there were demons in other religions before Christianity.
That's the best explanation I could think of why there's so many shitty lyrics in the world.
Because
It
of
has to be
Bill
some
Haley's
supernatural
ritual.
intervention. Yeah.
Yeah, because it
Like-
goes on. This is where you see the clothing that you have to wear too. So the next line is, "Put your glad rags on and join me, hun. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1." And there's a lot of hidden meaning there.
Ooh.
We're gonna rock
That's
around
in
the clock tonight.
Ecclesiastes.
I think it might be
That's a
just
quote,
like
direct
turn,
quote.
turn, turn from the Birds.
Yeah.
We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. So it's an all night long ritual going around this clock We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. And then when the clock strikes 2, 3, and 4, if the band slows down, we'll yell for more. Now, when the band they're talking about is probably like band of brothers. It's probably like an army of some kind. It's people working in a collection to achieve some kind of
Or
purpose.
a bunch of demons.
Maybe they would
Could
join
be.
in, and then they'd have to bring a
Succubuses.
fiddle out to because when the band of demons joined in with the devil that went down to Georgia, then
Yes.
that's how that. Okay, we're good. We're tying in here. So
Great.
I'm
Yeah,
still
theory
trying to
of that.
figure out what a glad rag is, but carry on.
glad rags are actually an old term. I'll get the exact definition for
Yeah,
it.
I've heard that. There's a bunch of songs.
There's
that
actually
mention glad
Rod
rags.
there's a Rod Stewart song that is handbags and glad rags, if I remember correctly.
Is
Well,
that like
Rod
your
Stewart is
finest-
obviously a part of that satanic
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, glad rags are clothes for a special occasion, one's best clothes. That's what glad rags are.
Wow,
So
that's
it's kinda-
properly vague. Okay.
Well, if you put basically it's like Sunday go to meeting clothes, right?
So it's like my big Atlanta church-going hat.
Yeah, exactly. Those would be your glad rags. Put your glad rags on, your good clothes, and you're going to go go do your ritual around the clock. Because when the chimes, okay, so there's chimes involved. When the chimes ring 5, 6, and 7, it will be right in seventh heaven. Because the 1 through 6 were destroyed in some fashion.
Not the first heaven.
I can't believe Matt's sober right now. He's spinning this amazing theory.
This is deep,
Which I'm
man.
fascinated by. I love this. You're reading all this shit.
I'm terrified.
It's
I don't know that I'll
Haley.
ever watch Happy Days again.
You're
But
reading all this.
but this
crazy
is
shit.
this is where they get like the full strength of the demons. So when he says,
Yes.
when it's
Yes,
8, 9,
continue.
10, 11, 2, I'll be going strong, and so will you. So that's when they're getting all of the energy from those demonic forces from just rocking around the clock. Again,
Yeah,
Stonehenge.
obviously satanic. Yeah.
Yes,
Obviously.
it is demonic.
This is obviously.
Remember, we're not doing it's before Satan. Remember, it's demonic. So when the clock
Demonic.
strikes 12, we'll cool off then. So that means that it's probably like ritual bathing after that. They're going to get in some kind of
Obviously,
ritual
yeah,
bath.
bathing.
Then they're going to start a rocking round the clock again. So
Ooh.
back in the day, they had to do it more than one night at a time. They just had to keep going. So, rock around the clock tonight, rock till broad daylight again, all night long till broad daylight. And that's not just dawn. That's not like 5 or 6 a.m. That's like noon. They're going all the way to noon, and then who knows if they'll sleep. And
Dawn is not noon, Matt. Dawn is dawn. It's 5 or 6.
right. That's what I'm saying. They're going to broad daylight.
Broad daylight.
Oh, broad.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
see.
that's
Broad.
not like they're
I
not
get
going to
that.
stop at dawn. They're going to
Broad.
go right. It's going to go out to like no.
What is broad daylight? Is that a scientific term in weather?
Well,
Is
that
that
or
9 o'clock?
or you could go into a
9
feminist
a.m.?
thing about it.
9
It's
a.m.?
however you choose to take it, really, Greg. Although
I'm
I don't
offended.
know. I don't know if burping.
I'm
helps,
offended by
but
your term, but I still want to know where the origin is. Broad daylight.
broad daylight means it's during the day when people and things can be easily seen.
That's really the definition?
That's like as specific.
I'm really
as
Well,
glad
that's
you
7.
defined that for us, man.
Yeah, that's 7
because
a.m.
Yeah, that's from Merriam-Webster. That's the idiom.
Merriam-Webster.
Yes, during the day when people and things can be easily seen. Rather, that's what I'm saying. So if you do it at dawn, they're not quite so easily seen because it's still a little bit dark. So I
But
don't
now
know.
we're
Do
late.
So
you
maybe
really know who
maybe 9 or
Merriam-Webster
10 a.m. then.
Yeah.
Well,
Merriam-Webster.
it still even ties back to Daniel Webster and the devil. So they're all connected.
What? Wait, why do you act like we haven't talked about Daniel Webster and the devil? Why do you act like this is something we've talked about? Oh, it brings us back.
Daniel Webster and the devil? I mean,
What?
everybody knows about that, Greg.
I know, but we didn't talk about it.
I know,
What are
but
you talking
I
about?
was just talking about where I got the definition of broad daylight was from Merriam-Webster. And so
Yeah?
Webster it refers to Daniel Webster, who created the dictionary, right? Which goes back to the
Oh.
movie Devil and Daniel Webster, or that theory.
The
So
movie.
the devil is connected to it. Yes.
The famous director, Nathaniel Hawthorne.
After he wrote Last of the Mohicans, Devil and Abby
No.
Webster was a short story. Sorry. It's a farmer who
was.
sold his soul to the devil and he was defended by Daniel Webster, if you really want to know. So is Daniel Webster basically, defending a guy against the devil, similar
Yeah.
to the guy in The Devil Went Down to Georgia having to play the
Yeah.
fiddle to play off the devil, which again ties us back to Rock Around the Clock being about demons in Stonehenge.
Can I just say that, like, that's
Yes,
another
Greg.
subgenre of lyrics that I
Yes.
love.
Yeah.
Even when they're insipid, I love when they tell stories like One Tin Soldier, The Devil
Yes.
Went Down to Georgia. I think those guys went the extra mile. They're like, I'm going to write a song. The lyrics are going to fit the melody I wrote.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a good story. It's a little story, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I always loved story songs. When I was a little kid, literally when I was 6 years old, I always was like, oh, I like this song because it tells me a story. It's like,
Yeah.
that's
I
great.
think what I've always considered probably one of the most perfect folk songs is the song City of New Orleans from Arlo Guthrie. Because it essentially tells the story of riding this train in the final days of the luxury trains that used to exist. But then how those days are ending. And you see these vignettes along the way that are described in the song where they're playing poker and they're seeing automobiles rusting at the side of the railroad tracks as you're going by. So I've always felt that, and the music too, all combined together created this very visceral image if you listen to that song. Anyway, then that's been covered a few times. I think Willie Nelson did it and a few other people. But I don't know why I brought that up other than, the song lyrics can evoke things. If they tell stories, they can take you to that place. They can transport you to the mountains stand there.
Let's not go there, but
In the sky.
With
Mountains
Muppets.
stand there in the sky.
With Muppets.
Guthrie was arguably one of the great storyteller songwriters of all time, for sure.
Well, no, I said Arlo. I think you're referring to Woody.
I'm referring to both of them. I think
Okay.
Arlo was also, he wasn't his dad,
Yeah, that's true.
but he was
But
good.
he had like 3 hardcore classic songs that he wrote. That's true.
Yeah, I just I sat down on this last Thanksgiving and listened to Arlo Guthrie with
Alice's Restaurant.
Alice's Restaurant with Dagny. Took her through the whole song.
I did the entire song at karaoke for Thanksgiving. I did like the full.
What?
I did the full 20 minutes. There was like
Wow.
nobody there. I'm like, all right, if like nobody else is gonna put songs in, of the 3 people who are here, you're gonna hear the entire Alice's Restaurant for Thanksgiving.
Is this spoken word, most of it?
Most of it is, yeah.
Most of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it tells the story, and it's kind of fun to do it.
They played that on the radio every year on Thanksgiving when I was a kid.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Thanksgiving songs out there.
No, they're not.
No, and good for Arlo for doing that. But it's not necessarily broadly known as a Thanksgiving song.
Yeah.
No, in my state, in New York, it was on the radio every year for Thanksgiving. It was
Really?
the Thanksgiving song.
I thought you were
Really
saying
cool.
your state, which is currently getting pretty intoxicated because
Yeah, my
your
intoxicated
speech is
state.
slurring
Well,
pretty
that's
hard
always
right now.
my state. That's
No,
always my state.
you're not always at this level of slur.
No, last night I was even worse.
Yeah, you were much worse last night, but we weren't
Yeah.
doing it. We weren't doing the podcast. tonight.
Exactly. We weren't trying to get me a pizza. I'm endangering my pizza. Getting-
I've been brought into this movement, Greg, and I'm dedicated to getting you a pizza.
And we'll get you a pizza too.
At some
Sure.
point. Well, I
I
mean,
think we have a much better chance now. 'cause
we have a
this
better
is-
chance of
I
getting a
think-
pizza because if we get 1,000 listens, we'll get about $15.
I think this is the best podcast we've had yet because Brandon is like, this is the best. I hope he keep doing it.
Would
Greg,
you like-
that's just the alcohol talking. Later,
No,
we watch this
I've had
and
so
say,
much fun. Like, I don't even
who was
care
that
if it's-
asshole from Florida?
I don't even
talking
care if
about
it's
dog
going out
fucking
tonight.
together.
I don't even care if this is going out tonight. I'm like, I had the most fun the past hour and a half talking to you guys. I was like, this is a great way to spend my day off.
Well, I think we need to come to some kind of a conclusion. I think this is a good time to come to a conclusion here. So, but how do we end this? How do we make this a fitting
Talk to the
conclusion?
jury.
Other
a
than
final
me
argument
bringing
to the
up
jury?
Stonehenge and Rock Around the Clock from Bill Haley and the Comics.
Yeah, and your
being-
crazy Satanist beliefs. Stop trying to put your religion in the show, Matt. You're always trying to be all spiritual and shit.
I never said I believed in the
You're
devil.
trying to push your religion on everyone.
So I guess
The religion of music.
the question becomes, to recap,
Okay, yes. Sum it up for us, prosecutor, or whatever you are.
Please.
whatever I am.
No, he's
Yes.
a prosecutor. He's
Is
more
he now?
harsh than I am. Yeah, he wasn't
That's
put,
right. Yeah,
put
that's
them
true.
to death.
He was all about the death penalty. So
Yeah,
I
okay.
was
I
all
never
about the
brought
death
that up.
penalty.
We'll make him judge, jury, and executioner.
Judge
So
Dredd.
This is all in your
So-
hands. This is your hands, Brendan. You will save or damn this podcast. What do you have to say next?
Yes.
So in the beginning, I suggested that yes should be sentenced to death, specifically the song "Roundabout," and then quite interestingly, Matt, you had that song up on cue as a song to discuss that you like. So I'm not sure that lyrics. I think I've changed my mind. I think that lyrics are a deeply personal experience, and I don't think any of them should be put to death.
Not even my Sharona.
Nope.
Definitely not. 'Cause that sounds
Not,
awesome.
not even My Sharona or any one of the Ramones songs that's relatively insipid, but I love. I think songs mean something to you on an individual basis, and we just all need to understand that. But having said that, I do think that boy bands ought to be put in a box.
Yeah. Because they have nothing. They have no lyrics.
nothing
or
to
good
offer.
music.
A
They got
box.
nothing.
What kind of box? Like a cardboard box, or what are we talking about?
No, a small cage where I could poke them with a stick.
Because they have nothing.
What's to torture them?
Yeah, I do. I want to get Justin Timberlake in a little cage and then poke him with a stick.
But they have so many fans, though. Do you say that they're all wrong for enjoying those bands?
Yes. Oh, I do.
I
And
think
they should be maybe put in that box too with them.
All the fans.
You like them? Then you
I don't
deserve to
think
be put in
they
that
should.
box.
I honestly think that
They're accomplices.
a lot of the people in the world are a bunch of goddamn idiots.
We all know that. Yeah, that's true.
I don't have any problem with that because that's just the way they are. But boy band music just accentuates their idiocy.
And yet they've created classic songs, though. I mean,
Like
Classic?
well,
I
for
guess-
example, the song "Bye Bye Bye" from NSYNC.
Yeah.
That's one that's very popular at karaoke nights. That
You're
a lot
right.
Of
It
people
is
sing.
classic.
It is because if you think about it, those are from 25 years ago now,
Yeah. Just like we
and
like
they've
Afternoon
lasted.
Delight.
They've lasted 25 years, right?
That's Afternoon Delight.
Well, no, that's 40 years ago.
I know, but I'm saying, but those kids grew up, you know what I mean? That was their childhood. So
Right.
they like a lot of insipid.
But we hear "Bye Bye Bye" more often than we hear "Afternoon Delight." So there's
Yeah.
something about that, right?
You're
And-
listening to the wrong radio station, man.
The radio station is the karaoke shows that I run.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, well,
I
that
hear
is
Bye Bye
definitely
Bye
the
a
wrong.
lot.
That's probably the wrong radio station.
In many
Oh, it
cases,
is.
yes, because we often hear the song "What's Up" from Four Non Blondes, and that's one that I could shoot myself if I hear.
Often, every
Ooh.
fucking night.
It's like certain songs you wonder, like, how did they get staying power, and like, why are they picked for karaoke so much? Like these Journey songs, where they were like okay when they came out, but now they're like they have taken the world by storm. It's like, why is that?
Journey is definitely karaoke.
You know, I don't
Wow.
hear Journey that much on my karaoke show, but because it's hard to sing.
Yeah,
It's hard. Not many people can sing that high. Four Non Blondes
I found
is
that
the one.
people don't care.
No, Four Non Blondes is the one that's like, oh, it's pretty easy to sing.
I
I've done
said,
this
hey,
middle register, and it's, I don't know, like Love Shack. Love Shack wasn't the biggest song in the 80s. There were much more popular songs, but that became a karaoke track. That one's because it's fun. You know, you got two people singing, a guy and a girl. It's kind of fun.
Yeah,
But
I think.
Four Non Blondes is just like, it's easy to sing. It's not that hard.
Well, I don't think
I
we
could
want to
sing it.
devolve into how easy songs are to sing.
No, I'm just saying that's why Four
Show.
Non Blondes.
Because we
you
could
keep
go in.
hearing.
This could go for additional hours if we went
Oh,
into
yeah.
that. And
But I don't think anyone loves that song that much. They don't go home and listen to Four Non Blondes every night. Like, ooh, I'm bored. I want to hear that song.
okay.
But it's easier to sing. So nobody sings Mariah Carey at my place because it's fucking hard. People love Mariah Carey. She was huge.
Greg, you're off on a weird tangent right now.
Am
I
I?
don't even,
Edit it out. That's the
Mariah
beauty of this.
Carey? Is
Edit
that
it
what
out.
you were saying?
Yes,
Yes.
Mariah Carey. She was
Mariah Carey?
No.
Mark Carr. Mark Carr.
Mark
I said Mark Carr.
Mark Carr?
I think Brendan is
Mariah Carey.
experiencing your alcohol now, Greg. It's
This is why you wanted
it's-
Brandon to come on, just to be like,
to
Greg,
help
did
you.
you have to go through? You're a slurring drunk.
I'm just trying to understand. Mariah Carey can't not be possibly easy to sing at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's
Oh.
like, that's why no one sings her, even though people love her songs. She was huge in the 80s. She had
Right. Yeah, no.
40
yeah.
hits, or whatever, how many hits she had. But
she's had more #1 singles than anybody else in history.
Is that right?
really,
Yeah, definitely.
more than the Beatles.
Yes, more than everyone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
See, that's what Brendan was talking about. Most people are stupid. So everything we're talking about is nonsense. It's like, yeah, most lyrics suck, but people don't care. They're like, yeah.
Okay, so you know what this really means is that the three of us are all wrong. Because
No,
everyone
we're
else
not. No.
everyone else
No.
obviously
No.
knows better than us what's popular and what to
No,
listen to.
they're all wrong, and we're the lone voices in the wilderness screaming the truth. Like prophets. We're prophets. That's what
Tell
we are.
by
We're
our
prophets.
beards.
That's like
Yes,
that's
exactly.
homicidal maniacs are also out of the
Praise
woods
guys in
screaming.
caves. We're like Saint John, like anointing Jesus. We're like these crazy guys in caves who are the true prophets. We're like, guys, you'll understand 100 years. You'll realize we were right. You were all wrong. I'm kidding, of course. Whatever.
To go back to the immortal words of Rush and Spirit of Radio, for the words of the prophets were written on the studio wall. So there you go, Greg. It all ties.
Very good,
Said.
Clarence Darrow Jr. Very good.
Nice to bring it back around.
Yeah.
I do what I can. All right. Well, that being being the case, we shall come to a conclusion to the trial, the song lyrics on trial edition of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. And I want to thank our guest, Brendan, for joining us on this. If you'd like to join again, we can certainly add you in. I think
Brendan, please do.
definitely added something to it.
Absolutely. Anytime you guys want, I'm happy to be here.